Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashilakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं श्री परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्यमीश्वरम। हरे कृष्ण। So I welcome all of you to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. I think last week we were discussing about chanting of holy names, and last week we took this Chitraketu Katha. So we were discussing how Chitraketu was, of all the things that Chitraketu Maharaj had, the focus of Chitraketu Maharaj, the focus of mind of Chitraketu Maharaj was on what he didn't had. Yes? And we can observe this thing in our life. We may have received so much of blessings from Krishna, blessings from Guru, and but the tendency of mind is to always look for what we have not received. Yes? And Chitraketu Maharaj was also behaving like an ordinary living entity in this world whose mind is uncontrolled. And now Krishna, out of his great causeless mercy, arranges in our life the coming of a guru or spiritual master. ब्रह्मांड भ्रमित कौन भाग्यवान जीव गुरु कृष्ण प्रसादे पाए भक्ति लता बीज. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he glorified the process of devotional service, he explained the process of devotional service to Srila Rupa Goswami in Prayag. So at that time, the first verse that Rupa Goswami mentioned about devotional service was this verse, that Brahmanda Brahmite Kaun Bhagyavan Jeev. After wandering and wandering and wandering millions and millions of lives, one fortunate living entity gets the favor of Krishna. And how he gets the favor of Krishna? That Krishna arranges a divine personality to come in his life who can tell him what is good for him. So similarly, Krishna, seeing the situation of Chitraketu Maharaj, he arranged the coming of Angira Rishi in his court. So Angira Muni is a very, very powerful sage and friend of Narad Muni. So when Angira Muni comes to the court of Chitraketu, Chitraketu is extremely respectful. Extremely respectful. He receives Angira Rishi, makes him sit on his own throne, and puts his head lowered while sitting. Just imagine what type of submission. Scripture says that when we talk with Guru, we should never should put our eyes with the eyes of Gurudev. That's what Shastra says. And he was so respectful that he was not even showing his eyes. जैसे बोलते हैं ना, आँखों से आँखों मिलना, मतलब putting his eyes, you're looking directly to the eyes. So scriptures advise that one should not directly look at the eyes of Gurudev. One should always look down. And he was really down. He was really like this. Sukadeva Goswami clearly mentions that he was sitting like this at the feet of Angira Rishi. And Angira Rishi inquired about his welfare, his kingdom's welfare. And Angira Rishi gave instructions that how important it is to control our mind. You see, these powerful sages, they have X-ray vision. You understand X-rays? Like your bone is fractured, or maybe CT scan. Like I had got, when I got COVID, the CT scan was done of my chest. It was really the film that, like everything you can, if you look on the body directly, you will not be able to see anything. But that X-ray film, everywhere, everything, all the veins and arteries and what all things are there in the lungs, everything was visible. And interestingly, the heart and all those portions are visible. Similarly, we do CT scan of different parts, and we can clearly see beyond what we can see. So these powerful sages, they are powerful because they have got this vision of X-ray, CT scan. They can actually scan not just our body, not just our organs, they can scan our mind and intelligence. And then they will instruct especially that thing which will be most difficult for us. That's how it is. Recently I am writing a book. So just yesterday I finished one chapter glorifying and my interactions with my spiritual master in that chapter. And so all of you wait to read that. So that's why I'll not tell. This is related to this topic. But the point is, gurus, these great personalities, they have X-ray vision to actually see what none of us can see. Understanding the position of Chitraketu Maharaj, Angira Rishi actually, he started speaking so much on importance of mind control. How important it is to control your mind. He gives an example, very nice example. When I read it, it was very nice example. He gives an example just like the king, how the king can be very happy when the ministers and when the citizens, when the businessmen in the kingdom, everyone is aligned with the desires of the king. Correct? So similarly, the soul is happy when the mind, intelligence, ego and the body, all four factors are aligned to the purpose of the soul, that is liberating oneself from this material world and going to spiritual world. And we find in this world, all of us have so much scientists have created so many facilities for comfort of body, comfort of mind, comfort of intelligence, comfort of ego. But unfortunately, that comfortable situation is not able to create a satisfying heart, a satisfying mind. We are not satisfied. We may be comfortable physically, mentally, intellectually, on an egoistic level, but somehow there is no satisfaction. There is no fulfillment. And the reason is no alignment. We are not aligning our comfortable position with the real goal of life, that is to practice Krishna consciousness and liberate ourselves from this horrible material world and go back to spiritual world. So Angira Rishi gave such instructions, but in reply, this is the verse that Chitraketu Maharaj spoke. Very interesting. So this is the first verse we will discuss today, 6th canto, 14th chapter, 25th verse. Lokapalerapi prarthaya samrajyeshwarya sampadaha na nandayanti aprajamam kshut trut kamam ivapare. So Chitraketu Maharaj is speaking, Lokapaler api prarthaya. All the Lokapals, all the ministers I have, they are all very nicely obeying me. Samrajya Aishwarya Sampada. And my Samrajya, my kingdom is filled with Aishwarya, filled with opulence, filled with Sampatti. Wealth is there, prosperity is there, obedient followers are there. Na nandanti. But somehow or other, I am not finding any happiness. Aprajamam. Because I do not have any child. Aprajam. Praja means son. Kshut trit kamam ivapare. He gives this example. You see, this is the level of civilization of previous times. Even the examples that are given are also very fitting. So, Chitraketu Maharaj gives an example, Kshutrit kamam ivapare. Imagine one guest comes to your house, because Angira Rishi also has come as a guest. So he is giving example of guest so that Angira Rishi is able to relate and understand his situation. Imagine a guest comes to your house. He has traveled a lot and is extremely hungry, because on the way the pantry of the railways was not available and he could not get any food. And anyway, devotees don't take from pantries and all. There is no much hygiene. So he was really fasting and hungry, very fatigued, feeling thirsty. And he comes to your house and says, Sumit Prabhu, Parul Mataji, I want some special prasadam. And Parul Mataji says that, oh, Swamiji has come, get garlands. And then they get garlands. And Sumit Prabhu makes the guest wear the garlands. And then says, give me water. And then Parul Mataji brings nice sandalwood paste and puts it, Sumit Prabhu puts. And then he says, give me food, I'm thirsty, give me food. And then Parul Mataji says, oh, I think your legs are very, very burning because of traveling so much. Let both of us clean your legs and massage them. This person will get so frustrated. Yes? I had heard that these two devotees are very nice devotee from Srinitaya Das, but they are just doing, they are following their mind. So, this is what exactly Chitraketu Maharaj spoke. He said that all these things are there, but if child is not there, which actually helps one to eradicate the hunger of heart. So my body and mind, it is completely filled with so much of prosperity, but my heart is aching with the fact that I do not have any son. And Angira Rishi understood that Chitraketu is not ready to receive spiritual instructions. He is completely obsessed with the desire for satisfying his material needs. So this is the next F. We had discussed, I think, 2 Fs. I don't remember the 2 Fs. One was focus, and what was first one? Fortune, futility, and focus. I think 3 Fs we discussed, and this is the next F, that is the fault. The basic fault of our life, of our lifestyle, is that we do not understand the basic need of the soul, that is to love Krishna. And we had discussed elaborately on this on the previous class on Ekadasi, that how the basic fault that we are having is that we forget our fundamental need to love Krishna. This is a fundamental need. Like a guest is coming, the fundamental need is that at least he is given water and food. Other things are all ancillary. You know something called the word ancillary? That is like extra. If you can give a sandalwood pulp, put it on his head, and you give a mala and massage his feet, is like sone pe suhaga. But the basic fundamental need for satisfying a guest is give some water, give some food. Similarly, the basic fundamental need of the human existence is to love Krishna and to experience the love of Krishna. And other things are ancillary. Whether we became very successful materially or not, it's an ancillary thing. Whether we got established and have a big empire to rule in this world and everyone is knowing about us or not, it's an ancillary thing. It's good if you can have that. Some basic comfort is definitely required for body, mind, and intelligence to function. But these are all ancillary. One should never be obsessed so much like Chitraketu, going to the extent of marrying 1 crore ladies. And also, 1 crore ladies you marry, then you need to take care of them. It's not that you just, we will see ahead. We will see ahead what is going to happen. So he was obsessed. And Angira Rishi could understand the obsession. So this is the fault. Fault is not material accomplishments. Fault is not material ambitions. Material ambitions is not the fault. Material accomplishments are not faults. Material success or desire for material success is not fault. What is fault and what is being mentioned here in the pastime of Chitraketu Maharaj is the obsession that he had for material needs, for fulfilling the material needs. And modern society You see, it's not that in Vedic society people had no material requires and material desires. We find even people were marrying, people were enjoying, and the way people were enjoying material, modern society, we don't even enjoy eating, sleeping, and mating and defending. You read in Srimad Bhagavatam, you can understand what is the level of eating, how you can enjoy eating in material world. I'm not talking about spiritual world. And if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, you can understand what it is a honeymoon. The honeymoons of this world that is. You read Srimad Bhagavatam in the 3rd canto of honeymoon of Kardama and Devavati, you'll understand, wow, this is honeymoon. And it's not that previous times people used to not enjoy eating, sleeping, mating and defending. There were honeymoons. There were wonderful cuisines, international travels. Everything was there. But obsession was missing. If it is provided, let's be happy. Krishna has provided it. Let's enjoy it for satisfying Krishna. And let's be happy. And if it is not, let me endeavor a little bit. And if it is without neglecting my vows of Krishna consciousness, and if I get it, fine, then Krishna wants it, that I receive it. And if I don't get it, whatever I have received, let me be happily enjoying that. That's what the level of Vedic society. Vedic society, it's not that all were sannyasis, paramahamsas roaming in the streets. That was not Vedic society. Don't think that Vedic society means paramahamsas are running. Vedic society, boys were getting attracted to girls also. There were love marriages, serious love marriages. Girls were also getting attracted to boys. There were serious love marriages and like that. I don't want to go to details of the stories where all these things happened, but it was there. It's not that all were just living as a Paramahamsa, completely without any knowledge of this body like Sukadeva Goswami. It's not like that. Even Krishna doesn't want us to be like that. Krishna wanted Arjuna to enjoy the same happiness of kidnapping Rukmini. And he made an entire strategy for Arjuna to kidnap Subhadra. Just imagine. Which brother will do like that? To make a conspiracy against another brother and arrange his friend to kidnap his own sister, so that his friend gets the happiness of a kidnap marriage. Krishna goes to the zenith of friendship. I don't think any friend would do like that or dare maybe to do like that. Yes? So there were material happiness. There was material happiness. Vedic society was not like people were just sitting at Paramahamsas and just not wearing anything, completely naked. That's what modern society poses Vedic society as. There were the Stone Age men. This is so ridiculous. They had nothing to wear. And then slowly they started covering their private parts with all these leaves. And then they understood that leaves they get dried up. We need to have something else. And all these stories are made in anthropology, which my sister was reading. And I was shocked and I was thinking, we read about Mahabharata, we read about Ramayana, and they had such beautiful things to wear and all, enjoy. And here this book says that 5,000 years ago, people were naked and wearing leaves. Maybe their ancestors were wearing leaves, but our ancestors, Draupadi and Pandavas, were not wearing leaves. They were wearing golden embroidered cloth, silken cloth. That's what is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is just 5,000 years ago. Krishna arranged, when they were going, the Pandavas were going to meet Bhisma Pitama. Krishna said to Yudhishthir that get 5 golden chariots. You get 5 golden chariots to go and meet Bhisma, because Bhisma always wanted all of you to, he wanted to see that all of you enjoy material happiness. But there was no obsession. And whenever there was obsession, Duryodhana, Karna, they had enough to enjoy. They had enough wives and enough kingdom, enough facilities, but they were obsessed to enjoy and exploit Draupadi. And that's what really pains Krishna. This is our fault. The fault is not to, we can have our material desires and we can have a plan to give up our material desires. Ultimately, we all have to give up our material desires and go to spiritual world. But we cannot do it at once. Tomorrow we cannot get up and we can think that tomorrow I will get up with a halo behind my head and Paramhamsa. And I am walking without wearing anything like Sukadev Goswami. Completely. We cannot just... And to become a Paramhamsa, you do not have to be naked. You can wear clothes and become a Paramhamsa. But the point is, we can have our material desires and we can take our own time to give it up, to realize the futility of material desires. But what is dangerous is the obsession to fulfill them. So in the beginning, we talk about the fortune of meeting a great soul. Then we talk about the futility of material life. Then we talk about the focus, how the mind focuses on what we do not have. But all these things are fine to the extent that we realize we keep a boundary that beyond this, I will not endeavor materially. This is my boundary of material endeavors. Because there is no limit. So we should have alarm signals in our spiritual life. If I am not getting time to chant my rounds very nicely, if I am not getting time to read Srimad Bhagavatam and hear about Srimad Bhagavatam, if I am not getting time to discuss Krishna Katha with some devotees, or at least my own husband and wife, then we should understand that we are going into a zone, something described in Nectar of Instruction by Srila Rupa Goswami as prayas. Srila Rupa Goswami has described 6 things that spoil our devotional service in a book called Upadeshamrita, the Nectar of Instruction. The second verse of it describes something called prayas. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangasya lolyam cha sadbhir bhakti vinashyati. Sadbhid bhakti. These 6 things vinashyati. It destroys our bhakti. And Rupa Goswami says that prayas means over endeavor, obsessive endeavor like Chitraketu Maharaj to get something material, and neglecting one's spiritual life, neglecting the spiritual aspect of life. This is what is condemned here in Srimad Bhagavatam. We know that for all of us to function our spiritual life properly, we need some amount of material comforts. We need some amount of fulfillment of material desires. But obsession is something which is condemned here. That's the fault. And when Angira Rishi could understand this, he thought that this surrender, that this saranagati, this submission, this respect, what Chitraketu was showing was completely external. Internally, Chitraketu Maharaj will not be able to follow my instructions. And that is why Angira Rishi made a complete strategy. You see, this is called transcendental conspiracy. Something like we go to some devotee's house and this family is not interested in bhakti, but we do some transcendental conspiracy. We tell that, I'll take the sweets, or I am topper. So, oh Swamiji, you are topper. Yes, I am topper actually. Oh Swamiji, why don't you guide our kids? Definitely, I will give some guidance. And then you guide their kids, you guide them, and after some 1 year, 2 years, they find that they are chanting Hare Krishna. So this is transcendental conspiracy. Because if you directly go and tell them that you chant Hare Krishna, Swamiji, I do not have time. But then you say that, I will do something for you, what you need. So what they need, they may be distressed, they may need some parenting, they may need some guidance to their kids' career. So you provide that. And then in exchange, because everyone wants to reciprocate, no one wants to take free service. There are some fellows who take free service, but general people don't want to take free service. They say, Swamiji, what I can do for you? What donations I will give? What is the price of your counseling and all? And then we fold. We are sannyasis. We don't require anything. We just want that you chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's it, Swamiji. I said, yes, that's it. Later on, you'll realize more. Krishna will help you realize further. My job is over. I am just a peon of Krishna. My job was to initiate the process of your purification. And then we initiate the process. We tell them to chant Hare Krishna. And we come back and we pray to Krishna, oh Syam Sundar, oh Radha Raman. Now he has come to your feet. Please take care of him. Please purify everything inside his heart. So that he only loves you. And he gives up any affection for anything of this world. And we pray like this, and then it happens. So Angira Rishi also followed this strategy and understood that this personality does not have a son. And if he at all by astrology he will have a son, he is given a son, the son is definitely going to give unlimited pain. But let me bless him with a son, and let Krishna bless him with the pain. And Angira Rishi used this formula, which is the next verse. That is, I think, the 38th. No, not this one. 29. Athaha. So Angira Rishi, just to explain the context, what goes after that, Angira Rishi said to Chitraketu, arrange for a yajna, tvastha yajna. And then there was a yajna, sweet rice was offered in that yajna, and then the sweet rice Angira Rishi said, give this sweet rice to one of your queen. And then she will definitely become pregnant. When I read it for the first time, greatest of gynecologists will simply be wondering, what is this? Huh? Just imagine, a sweet rice makes you pregnant. Of course, the formal process is also mentioned, that the formal process of union and all those things happened that Sukadeva Goswami mentions. But that was happening before also, but the lady was barren. That means there are much more powers beyond what we all are examining in our body. We are seeing even our body in a very, very different way. Like I see my body, it has a different explanations every day. Every day a complete new definition I get. Oh, this is what it is. Every day I get answers. Who am I? Some days some things happens. And even my doctor is really, oh Prabhuji, it's really amazing what all things you get every day. It's new exciting news about what is happening. So that means our body, how it functions, it has lot of subtle intricacies which modern science has not been able to find it out. We are seeing our gross body in also a very gross way. There are many subtle things beyond this gross body also. This is very gross, someone giving birth to a child, some lady giving birth to a child, but just imagine taking sweet rice. We take so much of sweet rice, everyone takes sweet rice. But taking sweet rice and becoming pregnant, my goodness, really interesting. That means mantras have so much of power. This sweet rice is infused with the mantra of Putra Kameshti. There is a specific mantra called Putra Kameshti mantra, Putra Kameshti Yajnas, which was done by, I think, in Ramayana it comes, the Putra Kameshti Yajna, done by, what was the sage's name? Srishya Shringa, for Dasarath Maharaj to get son. So that time also sweet rice was there. So the sweet rice is just a gross rice, and our body is but just a gross body. But the sweet rice, when it is infused with the mantra of Putra Kameshti, and when we eat it, we become pregnant. I don't know if male bodies, they eat it, what will happen, but at least females, they become pregnant. But we hear later on in the 9th canto that one Sudyumna Maharaj, it's a real story, Sudyumna Maharaj, he was wandering in this Bharatavarsha and happened to reach one place called Kailas or Ilabratavarsa, where Lord Shiva stays with Parvati Devi. And in that place, no man can enter. And if you at all enter, you will become a lady. And Sudyumna enters, and as soon as he crosses the boundary, imagine, this is like best border security force. Just imagine, we have in India this type of border security forces. Chinese and Pakistanis and Americans and Russians, whoever enters, they find what happened. This is what Srimad Bhagavatam is. Beyond imagination. The Pakistani military warfare, they're entering the Indian border, and What happened? All the terrorist problem will be solved if we follow this strategy of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is extremely intelligent. He is Mahadev of this material world. He knows how. He doesn't waste time in putting border security forces because he knows terrorists are always there. As soon as a terrorist enters the elaborate Varsha, so he becomes a lady and he joins as a maid servant of Parvati Devi. Finished. So this is the power of mantra. Sudyumna had a gross male body, but that boundary of elaborate Varsha was infused with so much of mantric, chants of mantras. As soon as he entered, the gross body got transformed. Just imagine. Similarly, this sweet rice had mantra, Putra Kameshti mantra. It was offered with chanting of Putra Kameshti mantra. And when you take it, you become pregnant. Exactly in the same way. When we are offering food items to Krishna, we chant this prayer, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. Now, when I heard this mantra for the first time, and I was taught that this is the offering mantra, I used to wonder, offering mantra means, oh Krishna, like the Sanskrit translation of, English translation of the Sanskrit words would be that, oh Krishna, this food is kept in front of you, please come and accept this food, please enjoy this food, I have prepared with so much of endeavor. I was thinking the mantra would speak like this. Oh Krishna, please, please take this, please take this. But interestingly, all of us chant this mantra before offering our food items. We chant Namo Brahmanya Deva. It has no trace of any plea and request to Krishna that come and accept this food. Yes? And this is the accepted, authorized mantra for offering Krishna any item. There are other mantras also. There are Gayatri mantras. There is Krishna Gayatri which is also chanted. Once we get Brahman Diksha, we also chant the Krishna Gayatri. We chant the Bija mantras. But the fundamental mantra is this. And if you analyze this fundamental mantra, it has no trace of a request, of a prayer that Krishna accept this offering. The meaning of this mantra is, oh Krishna, you are Jagat Hitaya, you do hit to the Brahmanas, you are merciful to the Brahmanas, you are merciful to the cows, you are merciful to the entire world. And your another name is Govindaya. You are merciful to the senses also. And I am chanting this mantra and offering you this food. Please infuse in this food the love at your lotus feet, so that my senses can be infused while taking prasadam with your love. That is the deep import of offering this prasad mantra. Externally, it may seem just a glorification, and we may get confused that why I am not reciting a Sanskrit mantra to actually offer a request to Krishna to eat. That seems more logical, right? A Sanskrit mantra which is designed in a way that, oh, hey Krishna, please come and take this food that I have prepared. This sounds logical. But the deep import or purport behind this chanting of this mantra is that request to Krishna. Krishna is not in need of our food. Krishna is not in need of anything. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Nama. He is not in need of anything. He just wants to do service. And what is the service we are requesting? Oh Krishna, you infuse this food with your love, so that when I take this, I become pregnant with love of God. Just like the sweet rice was offered with the mantra of Putra Kamesti, and Kritaditu became pregnant. With that mood, we must offer the food to Krishna, begging Krishna that, oh Krishna, make me pregnant with your love. Let the sun, not S-O-N, but S-U-N, let the sun of the love of your lotus feet illuminate the darkness of my heart. That is the basic import of Prasadam prayers. So that is the F that is here that Chitraketu Maharaj is speaking, is we will recite this verse. And when Kritaditi was offered and Angira Rishi leaves this palace speaking this verse, Athaha Nipatim Rajan Bhavi Taike Stavatmaja Harsha Shoka Pradastubhyam Iti Brahma Suto Yayo. Athaha Nipati Rajan. And then he spoke. Atha. After that, after completing the yajna and giving the sweet rice, aha, he spoke. Nripatim, to the Nripati, Raja, Bhavitaikas, in future, Tabatmaja, there will definitely be a son. But Harsa Sauko Pradastubhyam. But that son will give you Harsa, happiness, and the son will also be cause of your Soka, great lamentation. Iti Brahma Sutta Yayo. And speaking this, the son of Brahma, Angira, left. He kept it open. He kept it suspense for Chitraketu Maharaj to give purports, to analyze it. And Chitraketu Maharaj thought, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, that anyway, because after a long time I am getting a son and I have so much of empire, generally sons will become little bit of udanda, little bit of mischievous, and that's natural. But we will give training, we will appoint Srinitai Das and we'll ask him to come to our kingdom and train my son, and things will happen. If not Srinitai Das, someone will come, and I may ask Angira Rishi again. He will come, and then my son. I think it was the passing remark. You know, something called passing remark, jate jate kuch bol diya. But the sages, great souls, never speak just for the sake of speaking. especially when we are dealing with gurus, spiritual masters, we should understand whatever words that are coming from their mouth, it is the supreme direction and instructions by Krishna himself. And they don't speak for the sake of speaking. So Chitraketu actually, though he was so much having external respect, but he lacked internal submission. Spiritual life is more about internal submission to the words and instructions of Guru. And Angira Rishi could understand that. And that is why he designed this transcendental conspiracy and gave this very serious remark, which Chitraketu considered as a passing remark and neglected it. That's why we have to be very, very careful. We should never become frivolous while dealing with spiritual masters. And our behavior to take their words seriously will inspire Krishna within the heart of the Guru to speak exactly what is appropriate for the progress of our spiritual life. So that respect, that seriousness, that this is the person who is representing Krishna in my life. And that seriousness is required for advancing in spiritual life. So that internal submission is important, which Chitraketu lacked. So the next F we are discussing is the formula. The people are obsessed with material things. That's their fault. But compassionate sages and rishis and saints, they use the formula of using their own desires and faith that they have and redirecting it in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we go and find people who are very obsessed in doing some designing work. They know a lot of softwares and all. So we engage them. We tell, okay, you already know designing, you do some designing for Krishna. Some people are obsessed to earn money. You're obsessed to earn money. So while earning money, you also earn some money for making Krishna's temple, helping Krishna's preaching and words get propagated. So this is the transcendental formula that the great sages, out of their compassion, they apply to help a living entity become sane and give up the obsession of material enjoyment. And then Angira Rishi leaves, and when he leaves, then just within some after Sukadeva Goswami says further that when Chitraketu and Kritaditi, they unite for a son, Kritaditi becomes pregnant by the power of the Putra Kameshti mantra infused within the sweet rice that Kritaditi took. And then every day is like a long wait. Like the gopis, they wait. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks in the Sistastakam, Truti Yugayate, right? Atati yad bhavai ahanikananam Truti Yugayate Tvam apashyatam. Truti Yugayate, the gopis are praying that when you go out of Krishna for herding in the cows in the forest, for making the cows graze in the forest. One truti. Truti is, I think, 1/20th, 30th second of a second or something like that. Very, very small. Truti yugayate. One truti looks like Kalyuga or Satyuga. Tvam apashyatam, because we are not able to see this. That is our condition. And this horrible Brahma, he doesn't know anything, and he has put these eyelids, and these eyelids have more, they take more time, more than Truti. And we are not able to see you because our eyelids keep on flickering. So Chitraketu also had the same feeling for waiting for the sun to arrive. Waiting and waiting and waiting. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 8, 9, Hari Bol. When the son was born, Chitraketu Maharaj arranged for celebrations where he gave donations worth 60 crore cows. Mostly maybe one wife gave 60 cows donation. Maybe something like that. The Brahmanas, and Sukadeva Goswami says, just like rains, the clouds, they don't demarcate when their rain falls. They don't demarcate where to give. They give abundantly everywhere. They don't think, oh, I think here the rains are not required, here the rains are required, here is just a mountain, here is just an ocean, here is just a lake. Why the lake would need water? Why the whale would need water? Does the clouds discriminate? Exactly in the same way, Chitraketu indiscriminately. If you had been there in front of Chitraketu when he heard the news of getting a son, you would become Jeff Bezos of today's world. That was what Chitraketu Maharaj did. Every Brahmana who came, every person who came, they became one Jeff Bezos. They started their own companies, or maybe I don't know what they did. But they became extreme indiscriminately. And then the son is born, and the son is growing and growing. And then Sukadeva Goswami explains. One may say that, oh, what is this? Is this Srimad Bhagavatam? Something like a romantic novel, One man was not getting some sons, and he married so much, and then finally one sage came, Jinda Tilisma. He gave some infused, mantra charged. Nowadays they say mantra charged. He gave some mantra charged sweet rice and got a son. Wow, amazing. Where is Angira Rishi? I also want a son. Something like, if we end the study of Srimad Bhagavatam, we will misunderstand Sukadeva Goswami. What is this? Is a romantic novel or what? But this was, Srimad Bhagavatam is complete. It first takes you to top and helps you see the top view. You see, when you see the top view, you understand everything. Like when I go to NBCC, you go to the 11th floor, while seeing, you can see the entire new town from the top view, and it looks different. So Srimad Bhagavatam takes you to the top first, and then explains you, see what is going to happen. Because when you are in bottom, you always hanker, when I will go to the top, when I will go to the top, when I will go to the top. So Srimad Bhagavatam takes you to the top, the zenith of material happiness. And there it shows that there is nothing. And so, oh, Hare Krishna, there is nothing in this world. Yes, correct. So that's the strategy of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, so this is the verse. Very special, and Sukadeva Goswami giving all his realization. Chitraketu ati pritir. Yes, anyone? Yatha dare prajavati na tathanesu sanjagne balam lalayatonvaham. Hare Krishna. This is the twist now. So, this is the next F. The next F is fact. We will see what is the fact. Chitraketur ati pritir yatha dare prajavati. The dare, that wife, Krita Dviti, who became Prajavati. Prajavati matlab who gave Praja, who gave son to Chitraketu. Ati pritir. Chitraketu's love for that Krita Dviti got increased. Previously, Chitraketu Maharaj was going to Krita Dviti's palace once in 27,400 days. Or years, I think years. I don't remember what Vijay Prabhu calculated. Now he's not there because he's traveling to India. So years, yes. Pawan Prabhu is telling years. So once in 27,000 years, 400 years, he used to visit Chitraketu used to visit Kritaviti. Now, every day, every moment, he used to even do work from home. He used to remain online. He announced that I will do work from home till my son becomes bigger. Let me relish the childhood of my son. Till that time, O minister, you be there, and as my representative, I'll do work from home. Just imagine. Chitraketur ati pritir. Extreme affection Chitraketu developed for Yathadare Prajavati, for that wife who became Prajavati. And then, na tatha anyesu sangyagye. But because of his great affection, ati priti, to one wife, he was not able to show any affection to any of the wives. This is the, you say, the unfortunate facts of material life. The affection we receive in this material world is so very limited. Our capacity to love someone is so very limited to so many external factors. Chitraketu was definitely not like Krishna. Krishna could expand. Krishna actually, it is said in Ras Leela, danced with 1 crore gopis. Sata Koti, not 1 crore, Sata Koti, 100 crores. Some Puranas they explain 100 crores and some Puranas 1 crore. Maybe in different kalpas Krishna had done lot of Ras Leelas. Just imagine it. And for every gopi there was a Krishna. Forget about that, we are not gopis. I don't think any one of you are gopis. Maybe you are. I am not able to understand your great spiritual position. I am not. At least not right now. But for all of us, Krishna is there as Paramatma. Paramatma is an individual private incarnation. Yes, it's a private chartered incarnation. Like we have chartered flights. Paramatma is something like a chartered incarnation. Private avatar. Privately for us, for each one of us. The Paramatma of Karan Prabhu knows whatever Karan Prabhu likes and dislikes and everything. And Paramatma of Srinitai Das knows everything about Srinitai Das. A private incarnation. So it's not just about the gopis, it's about everyone. And that is why Krishna is Sarvakarshani. The name Krishna is one who attracts everyone. And why he attracts everyone? Because of his infinite capacity to give love. No one in this world can do that. And that is why our desire, our hankerings, our longings for this love can only be fulfilled with Krishna and no one else. We can definitely show affection to our wives and husbands and children, but we must deep within understand that I cannot satisfy my wife. I cannot satisfy my husband. I cannot satisfy my kids. I cannot satisfy my father. I cannot satisfy my mother. I can only help them get connected with Krishna's affection and love so that they can be ultimately satisfied. Our affection is to help us connect everyone to Krishna's affection. In whatever way they can understand Krishna's affection. Some people understand Krishna's affection in very gross way. You give them some prasadam, you gave them some gross things, say, oh, Krishna loves me so much. But whatever it is, whatever may be the definitions of our affections, we must try to help people connect with Krishna's affection. That's the fact. And because we don't realize this fact, because neither Chitraketu Maharaj realized this fact, nor the wives, other wives other than Kritadviti understood and realized this fact, that the only source of any love is Krishna. So the last F is called the failure. The fact, the wrong realization of this right fact helps us to fail. And what is the failure is explained in this verse. Ta, the next verse. Ta paryatapyan atmanam garhyayantyo vyayasuya anapatnyena dukkhena Ragyascha cha ta parya tapyam atmanam. Taha matlab the other wives, anyeshu. Paryatapyan, they were extremely disturbed. Garayantyo bhayasuya, they became filled with envy towards Kritadviti. Anapatyena, all the other wives, dukkhena, with great miserable, they were feeling miserable. Ragyas cha na darena cha, because of not getting the adar, the affection from Chitraketu, other wives became distressed, extremely in pitiable condition. They were crying, lamenting, cursing, and more so they got filled with envy. So it's the envy that is what keeps us in this material world. If you see, the boundary of the material world and spiritual world is the Karana Sagar. You know the Karana Sagar. That is why the Mahavishnu who is lying in the Karan Sagar is called Karuno Dakshai Vishnu. The person who is sleeping in Karan Sagar. Karan, the definition of Karan is reason. Yes, Karan. आपके आने का इधर क्या कारण है? What is the reason of your coming here? Karan means reason. So why the boundary of material world and spiritual world is called Karan Sagar? Because the Karan, the reason for someone being there is love. There is only one. No envy, non-envy. The Karan for someone being in material world is envy. So there is only one Karan for us to determine whether I will be in this boundary or that, beyond this boundary or that boundary, is envy. And why envy arises? This failure to understand the fact. What is the fact? That Krishna is the source of all affection. So there is superiors and there is subordinate. This is something very important for parenting. Especially if we are a parent or in the role of a superior or a guru. And nowadays people have just one kid. So it doesn't fit this example. But if you have 2-3 kids, I have talked with so many devotees who go through emotional turmoils in their life, emotional heartbreaks. The main reason, after a lot of research and talking with them, counseling them, I have found out is that they faced terrible unhealthy comparison from their parents with their siblings. So their parents were not having the maturity to give equivocal affection to both their kids. Nowadays parents have only one kid, but it's important. And that is why maybe in Kali Yuga it is advised to have one wife. Previously, people had so many wives and even Draupadi had so many husbands, but that maturity to give that equivocal affection so that a person doesn't feel envious is important. Imagine we have 2 wives and we are not able to give an equivocal affection, then both of them will be burning in envy. And if we have 2 husbands or whatever it is, and that is why previous times, people nowadays speak so much, why Sanatan Dharma was accepting, like previously in just last class, in Hindi Bhagavatam class, there was question, controversial question, ki, is Draupadi, what Draupadi did is allowed? Can the ladies marry more than one husband? Why the Shastras, they speak about only men marrying more wives and not one? I said Draupadi is an example. Is it a right example? I said yes. But you need to become a husband or a wife and handle that situation, not become like Chitraketu. So we must realize the gravity of taking any responsibility in any relationship. And we must give equivocal affection. So from a superior point of view, one should never discriminate in giving affection to his subordinates. If he has 10 subordinates, he should not discriminate in giving affection to the 10 subordinates. Awards can be offered, but affection should be offered without any discrimination. Awards can be offered with discrimination. Like a king or a parent, in order to inspire someone, can offer awards. But affection should be equivocal. Then the subordinates will not become envious. And if we are a subordinate, not in the role of a superior, it is important that we understand even our superiors, they are not Krishna. They have their limitations in their lives. And let me turn towards Krishna for receiving the affection. So this failure of this fact that Krishna is the source of all affection gives rise to envy. And the failure of the fact that Krishna can expand unlimited ways to give us affection. Just because Krishna is giving affection to Radharani does not limit him to not being able to give affection to me. Krishna can give affection to Radharani, Krishna can give affection to Chandravali, Krishna can give affection to the 100 crore gopis, and Krishna still can give unique, special affection to me. The failure to realize this fact creates envy in the heart, and that is how envy got created, and we came here to this material world. And when we realize this fact, then we are opening the door to liberation. The wives of Chitraketu Maharaj, then they started cursing themselves. One wife said to everyone that just see, we have become like maid servants. We are not now wives. Another wife said, ki maid servant? Even the maid servants get attention. We are more horrible than maid servants. And they became so obsessed with that envy. Initially, Chitraketu was obsessed, and now Sukadeva Goswami speaks the another extreme of obsession, of envy. They administered poison to the small boy Harsasoka in the absence of Kritadviti. And what happens next is the suspense that will be revealed in the next class. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Chitraketu Maharaj ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Yes, there are any questions? If there are no questions, we'll end here. I think. Are you there? No questions? Good. I think the subject matter is very clear. Oh yes, Veer Narasimha Prabhu has one question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hari Bol.
So I wanted to know, like, our Dasarath Maharaj was also in the same situation.
Yes.
And our Chitraketu Maharaj also in the same situation. But generally when we talk about Dasarath Maharaj, we say that he was concerned because he need to give a king to the kingdom. Because when he will get a child, then that child will take care of the kingdom. But when we are discussing about Chitraketu Maharaj, we are telling that his situation is like he is more obsessed with that desire to have a son. So like, where is the difference? Because if we see the outcome also, there was huge difference. There the Supreme Lord himself appeared, and here also Supreme Lord appeared, but different ways.
Yes.
So can you explain that, what was the difference in these two scenarios?
So Dasarath Maharaj, the first thing was, he was not obsessed. He was not getting sons, but he was never obsessed with the desire that I will marry, keep on marrying, I'll get a son. Maybe this lady is not able to give son, this lady keep on hunting for woman who can give me a son. He never did that. He married a lot of ladies for not getting a son, but he married because that time Parsuram was attacking and he wanted to kill all the Kshatriyas. But Parsuram had a condition that if any Kshatriya was getting married, then at that time of marriage, I will not kill him. So Parsuram actually 350 times he went across Ayodhya while in his whatever he did to kill all the Kshatriyas. And 350 times he has to get married so that he can safeguard himself. And Dasarath Maharaj, the Ramayana says, he had no desire to safeguard himself also. He thought, okay, let me die. If all other kings are dying and if I am not a capable person to become a king, let me die in the hands of Parsuram. Why should protest? At that moment, he was advised by Vasistha that no, you cannot die because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to appear in your kingdom. When Dasarath Maharaj heard it, he said, who? Is it? It's like, why did you say this to me? So I said, when the right time comes, I will say everything. So Dasarath Maharaj then thought that I need to leave. Other if I don't leave, how the Supreme Lord will appear? And then Dasarath Maharaj marries 350 wives. But his affairs, his primary queens were only these three. He had actually no affairs. They were given the kingly position as a queen. But Dasarath Maharaj didn't have any relationship because that relationship was made with that purpose. They were given lot of kingly the respect of a queen, but Dasarath Maharaj's primary queens were these three. And that message from Vasistha, that Supreme Lord is going to appear, created this obsessive desire that when I'll get a son, when the son, the Supreme Lord is going to appear. So that's the difference. Dasarath Maharaj was ready to die even from the hands of Parsuram. But with the news that Supreme Lord is going to appear and I am going to become an instrument, I am going to become a father. Just imagine, what a fortune to become a father of the Supreme Lord. I can marry 1 crore of times to get Supreme Lord as son. Just imagine. What a fortune. So this renunciation is ultimately for pleasure of Krishna. And this Grihastha ashram is ultimately for the pleasure of Krishna. Renunciation doesn't give us spiritual advancement, nor romance in Grihastha ashram gives us spiritual advancement. What gives us spiritual advancement is when we have deep desire like Dasarath Maharaj to please the Supreme Lord, to become an instrument of rendering service and affection to the Supreme Personality of God. Exactly in the same way the story comes in the Krishna's Vamsa, in the dynasty of Krishna, that there was Yayati Maharaj who got cursed from Sukracharya and lost his youth. And when Yayati lost his youth, he fell down at the feet of Sukracharya that, take away this curse. I want to get my youth back. I have become old. I want to still enjoy this world. So Sukracharya says that you can go back to your sons and you can exchange your old age with the youth of your son. Anyone who agrees. Yayati goes to Yadu, the eldest of the son. And Yadu says, no, I cannot. Yayati goes to other sons. All other sons says, no, we cannot. Then Yayati goes to the youngest son, Puru. Puru says, my father, you are our guru. If you still want to enjoy this material world, take my youth, give me your old age. Just imagine what is the level of son during those times. And the father is not that telling that, oh son, I want to become an assistant to Sri Nitai Das and become a brahmachari, give me your youth. The father is telling, I will enjoy gross pleasures with your mother, and I am not still satisfied, and that is why I need your youth. There are exact verses like that. Yayati speaks like this to Puru, and Puru gives. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam Sukadeva Goswami in the 9th canto speaks that Yadu denied to give his youth, and all other sons denied to give youth. But all other sons who didn't give youth, they were condemned. But Yadu is glorified. Though Yadu and all other sons, they did the same thing. All of them denied. But Yadu is not condemned because Yadu consulted his gurus and they said that don't give. The reason is, later on in your dynasty, Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to come, and that's why Supreme Lord is called Yadav, correct? Because he comes from the lineage of Yadu. And if you don't marry and you do not give up your youth and become old and invalid, you will not be able to give any son, and the dynasty will stop, and then how the Supreme Lord will appear? So deny, and he is glorified. And all other sons, they denied, they didn't even consult anyone, they just denied, and they're condemned. So that's the inner meaning behind Dasarath Maharaj. He always consulted his spiritual masters in taking any serious decisions in his life. Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you. Yes, Selja Mataji, last question. You are muted.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat.
Class was very intense today.
Class was intense because you were intensely hearing it.
So I have a question. Like you were explaining us 6 things which explore spoils our devotional service. That 6 things.
Oh, that 6 things will not be over in 1 or 2 minutes. You all can refer to the 2nd verse of the Nectar of Instruction, or later on we can give a seminar on the Nectar of Instructions. Maybe you tell to Kushal Vihari Prabhu, once in a month we have a seminar, so we can have a seminar on these Nectar of Instruction. They are very, very important verses, so we can discuss that. But there are the 6 things: Atyahara, over endeavor; Atyahara, excessive greed; Prayasa, over endeavor; Atyahara, Prajalpa, which the ladies should hear very nicely, gossip, and Niyamagraha, too much attachment to rituals of devotional service without understanding the spirit behind devotional service, spirit behind the principles of devotional service. And Janasankhya, associating with materialistic people, or maybe sharing our heart, because we need to associate with people, but sharing your heart with materialistic people, Janasangas. Lolyamcha, excessive greed. Sadvid bhakti, vinashyati. These 6 things destroy our bhakti. Maybe sometime we can take a seminar on explaining detailed way how our bhakti gets destroyed. Okay, but we discussed about prayas, that is over endeavor. Over endeavor, how do we understand? By seeing that we have enough time for our basic Krishna consciousness. So much endeavoring that we do not have time to sit peacefully and hear at least once in a week Srimad Bhagavatam class, then it is prayas. If you are so much busy that we are not having time to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra daily, then we are getting into prayas zone. We should try to make some arrangements or adjustments in our material life. Yes.
So, one more question. So, you were telling about formula. Can you repeat that?
So the formula is the formula by the saints, the transcendental conspiracy I was talking about. They gave a formula. The formula is that the person wants something materially. So you become a facilitator of helping him to receive that material thing, and then in course of it, because you develop a relationship with him, you ask him in favor to do some spiritual activity. That is the formula. Sorry, that is the formula of the transcendental conspiracy. Okay. Hare
Yes.
Krishna. जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. वांछा कल्पतरु वैश्य कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः.